welcome back to the stream. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means? It's time for Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving, and it's echoey in here, but I don't care because new space. Yes, officially it's here. I'm still like figuring out the ins and outs of it, obviously. You know, I'm also still unpacking from a move, so it'll take a little bit to really settle in, but this is the new space. I don't have anyone else come through here. It's not a living room. I've got the puzzle pieces set up so they actually go from wall to wall, so you're no longer going to have to hear me complain about the puzzle pieces pulling apart in the middle of class. Which is really exciting. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Oh my goodness. I feel like it's been an age since I've seen you, and it really hasn't. It hasn't been any longer than it usually is for this class, but whew. Yeah, it was a hell of a weekend. But the move was completed successfully. Yeah. Here and raring to go, raring to get this space filled up. My next project is going to be improving the camera setup, which I was not able to get to today. And considering the vast amount of other things on my plate right now, I am not going to try to get it done until at least next week to give myself time to settle, getting all the move stuff finished and all that jazz. So I'm gonna be kind to myself and make sure that I'm not, going, you're supposed to already have this done. I know, isn't it perfect? I don't know. I'm thinking about what to do with the walls, because I could always like paint my logo up there. I don't know. That's for a lot longer down the line. Don't get me distracted on there. But yes, so this is our new space, my friends. Like I said, hopefully it will gradually become less echoey as I am able to get it more set up. But yeah, I'm so excited. This is going to be my first time working out in this space. So yeah, we're on a journey today, which is exciting. That's true. Yes. Okay. So maybe before I go to painting my logo, I will instead start with what can I do through the magic of editing? Ooh. I do think, though, that will require me to get better at Streamlabs, which is probably not a bad goal as a streamer. But, yeah. Oh, golly. Sorry. Yeah, as you can imagine, I'm happy but also quite tired. But, yes, we're here. I'm so excited. And we're in February. Holy crap. I know I had talked about doing a full program in February, but as with the camera thing, I did finally acknowledge to myself that trying to design out a program for February while also prepping for a move and also doing a bunch of other stuff was probably one too many things on my plate right now. So it's going to be officially March. We're going to do our next program, similar to what we did in October, and I'll come up with a catchy name. But this month is Black History Month, and what I am going to be doing is trying to make sure that I am posting more regularly just about Black history and about issues impacting Black populations today. I want to start posting some of my personal reading list, the books that I am reading right now by Black authors, and you know, the components of Black history that I'm learning about and stuff like that. Pulling together organizations that work with Black folks on different issues. So what I definitely do plan to do this month is do a lot of that highlighting. Specifically to health. I mean, there is so much data around how racism impacts health outcomes for Black people. In all areas, Black women are particularly impacted, particularly in maternal health situations. They're far more likely to, like, the United States already has pretty dismal maternal health outcomes for a supposedly developed nation, but those outcomes are astronomically worse for Black folks bearing children. And that is a really good point. And there are definitely some creators that I want to highlight too. Across the spectrum, I don't think I'm going to stick solely to like fitness instructors, because I'm also a nerd, and there are a lot of really wonderful Black nerd creators out there. But this definitely also gives me an opportunity to do more research into Black fitness instructors and fitness businesses in various places, and I've already got a list started. So yeah, I'm going to be posting a lot about that this month. And then as I go forward, I'm going to build out a better ongoing schedule of posting, and I'll diversify it as well. So it's not just focused on Black folks, but, Latinx folks, Indigenous folks, the broader BIPOC population, definitely trans folks and LGBTQA plus folks. So there will be a lot of that being built into my social media posting, and trying to highlight people and organizations as I can. But for this month, since it is Black History Month, and I am reading currently Stamped from the Beginning, which is just a harrowing history of racist ideas. So we'll focus. That will be our focus for this month, and we'll keep the ball rolling as we go forward. But right now, I think it's time to have our first class in the new space. Oh my God. So if this is your first time on stream, welcome. I'm really excited because it's a new space. So you have come on our first class of the week, which is Perpetual Motion, and that is not hyperbole. This is, in fact, the class where we never stop moving. I also refer to it as the half marathon of HIIT classes. So what that means for you is that where normally we would finish a workout timer and then go, all right, cool, I get to rest, I get to stand around, grab some water. In this class, we finish a workout timer and then immediately go into our active rest exercise, which is called cross jacks, and I'll demonstrate that when it becomes necessary. But it means that from the time we start the warm-up to the time the final timer ends, you do not stop moving. So it requires a lot of energy management beyond what we usually do. Oh, sorry. It's going to be that kind of a week. So just be prepared. If this is your first class, I don't want you to go for 100%. I don't want you to go for 120%. I want you to go for the bare minimum. And the bare minimum is comprised of 3 things: starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. That is all you have to focus on, okay? If you focus on those 3 things, you will get an amazing workout, okay? And you will hopefully want to come back to class again, which is the goal. We don't want you to come into class and feel like you were run over by a truck and then go, well, I don't like this. That is not our goal. So be easy on yourself today. Remember, bare minimum, okay? No need to be a hero. There's no one to watch you do it anyway. So allow yourself the grace to build up your strength and build up your stamina, particularly for a class like this, all right? So let's do our pre-class warm-up. Not warm-up, checklist. Yeah, my brain's all over the place right now, my friends. And that's okay. So you got your water in whatever vessel you are using. I've got my trusty mason jar. I made sure to keep track of it in the move so that it did not get packed away into a box and never found again. Always make sure you have a healthy serving of water with you. We're in our homes. You could just fill a bunch of pint glasses up if you need to. So we've got that. We've got our comfy clothes, whatever that means to you. We've got our mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, now's the time to turn them on to that high-intensity interval training setting. If you don't worry about it. Not a requirement. I like to remind myself, and I figure others may also benefit from that reminder. So, yeah, it's class time. Woo, woo, woo. I'm going to be taking it a little easy, not super easy, but given the fact that I've been throwing my body all over the place and moving heavy things, I want to make sure that I'm paying attention to my body's needs today in the way that I always tell you to pay attention to yours. So I'm going to be probably a little chiller, but that's fine. All right, but let's do our warm up. Hey. All right. So we do the same warm up for every class, which is awesome because it means if you've already done a class with me, you know what the warm up is already. So we begin here on our mats, on our backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and as soon as that timer goes off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. Alrighty? Yeah! Woo! Nice and loud. Oh man. Yeah, I need to get, probably some decoration onto the walls just to help soak up the sound a little bit. I'm not gonna put a ton of furniture in here, just because that obviously cuts down on my exercise space. I do hope at some point to get some home workout equipment here. So like, a small number of dumbbells and kettlebells, medicine ball, stability ball, that kind of thing. It's hard right now because everybody started buying that equipment when we all went into quarantine. And so it is next to impossible. So, all right, switch feet. Next to impossible to find that equipment for anything approximating a reasonable price. So if you've been really frustrated because you haven't been able to locate that piece of exercise equipment that you want, yeah, I feel ya. And, it is one of the reasons why I focus on body weight classes for this stream, because no matter whether you're able to afford any of that at-home gym equipment, we can always do a body weight class like this. That is always possible for us, and that is super important to remind ourselves of. And it was one of the big things that we had to teach ourselves when the pandemic started. All right, doing those Jane Fondas now. Oh my God, I cannot express to you all how amazing it is to be on this mat structure, to know that it's not going anywhere. The only thing that I'm gonna have to figure out for myself is how to get shrimps involved, because I love me some shrimps. However, I do think that I'll be able to figure that out because I've got a couple of extra puzzle pieces, so I can just create sort of a T shape going forward, and then we'll be just fine. So, yeah, it just feels like just this one. All right, top foot flat on the floor in front of the bottom knee, lifting that bottom leg. Just this one small change feels like such a huge quality of life adjustment. And that's the thing, you know, it's important to me to show you that you can really get an amazing workout with next to no equipment to speak of. Like, as long as you're wearing something you're comfortable working out in and you have the right amount of room on the floor, you can absolutely get that workout done. But another thing that's important for us to remember is, you know, when we've built out this habit, built out this discipline, built out this recurring schedule of fitness for ourselves, it's also a good idea to take a look at our setup every once in a while. All right, take that front top foot, put it flat on the floor behind the bottom knee, still lifting the bottom leg. It's our beach pose. It's important to take time every once in a while to just examine our setup and see if it's meeting our needs. Because, yeah, you can really make such a difference with such a small change. The only thing that's changed here is that I've set up the puzzle pieces in such a way that they are not going to be moving around on the ground. That's the only change I've made, but I can already feel what a difference it's making in terms of feeling really stable while I'm working out, not worrying that I'm going to be constantly distracted by having to put the puzzle pieces back together the way I did in the old space. All right, all three of those on the second side, starting with Jane. So yeah, if you've been working out with me for a while, and many of you have, take some time this week. Check out your current setup and see if there's anything that you can ID that might provide a nice quality of life improvement for your workouts, okay? And if there is, don't be afraid to do that for yourself, because you know what? You absolutely deserve it. You are working hard every week, and if there is something that is going to help make your space feel more welcoming and more usable, then you should absolutely do it. All right, top foot flat on the floor, in front of that bottom knee, lifting that bottom leg. So, yeah, this is feeling really good, my friends. What a nice experience. And I'm so excited for us because we get this absolutely lovely new space for ourselves. And we can really get it set up however we want it to be, which is just really freaking cool. Oh my God. Yeah. So, welcome to the new home of Blanche Case Fitness. I hope you like it here. I'm definitely pleased. Definitely pleased. And just feeling so much more. All right, back to our beach pose. This is our final leg exercise before we move into opening up our backs and our hips. Yeah, I'm just feeling almost a weight off of my shoulders, you know. The other space was so good to us, and it's where this channel started, and you know, it is how we got to start working out together, and I will always appreciate it for that. But again, talking about those quality of life adjustments, you know, the longer that I was teaching in that space, the more apparent it was that it was not well set up for what I wanted to do, you know? And it's just really exciting to feel like I can take that next step. All right, now it's time for scorpion twists. Oh yeah. So twisting one leg behind your back, trying to get that foot flat on the floor, trying to get that knee pointing up towards the ceiling, but always making sure that your elbows are planted on the ground. They are not going anywhere. So if you try to twist really far and you're like, okay, well, I can totally make it there if I lift my elbow up a bit, well then you can't make it there yet. And that's okay, all right? So be honest with yourself. Make sure that you are truly keeping those elbows locked against the floor so that you can really accurately gauge where your back's flexibility is. All right. Now we grab our imaginary PVC pipe and we start doing our big torso rotations. Change direction every couple of rotations just to make sure you're evening yourself out, because we will not be doing this for a second timer. So you definitely need to make sure that you're evening yourself out. Ooh, yeah, I'm feeling, my shoulder is definitely, it's not feeling terrible, but it's definitely poking me like you've been kind of stressed and you've been moving a lot of stuff around, which means you've been using your shoulder a lot. And I will say that it is very satisfying to move when you've been working out like this. All right, squats, because you get that reminder of how much you've improved, but you're still putting a lot of stress on your body, putting a lot of weight on your body. So yeah, my shoulder is definitely like, all right, I'm not totally convinced that I want to screw you over, but I really need you to pay attention to how much you do over the next week. So that'll be something that I'm really trying to track so that I can let myself recover from a few whirlwind weeks of lots of heavy furniture moving, which thankfully the heavy furniture moving is done. Now we're in set up things mode, which, you know, I can unpack boxes of books and put them on the shelves. You know, that's easy. That's not an issue. All right, we're doing our Samson stretches right now. So taking one leg back into a nice deep lunge, raising our arms towards the ceiling, really opening up the front of the hip flexor, and then standing forward and switching sides. Make sure your hips are still pointing straight forward, okay? So we don't want them opening up. This is not a warrior two position, okay? Pointing forward no matter where your leg is in space. All right, space, sorry. Okay, now time for the wide squat with spinal twist. So we're just holding the squat position and bringing one shoulder at a time in towards the midline. So the scorpion twists gave us that twist in the lower to mid spine. And now we're bringing the upper spine in on the party. So everything else should remain nice and stable. We're not bouncing up and down out of the squat. We're not letting our knee try and follow our shoulder in, okay? Keeping our hands on our knees to help keep them safely positioned over our feet. And we're just twisting those shoulders. And now we head into cardio. Hey, oh man, You know, the other satisfying thing is knowing that I do not have to worry anymore about disturbing a downstairs neighbor. So I am free to bounce up and down on the floor as much as I want because there is no one below to get annoyed. And that is really satisfying. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be a while before I stop noticing new things that I'm excited about. I'm really excited to test out this new camera setup. Assuming that I can figure out all of the lens stuff. I think it's gonna be really cool. All right, kick throughs, my friends. And remember, don't be afraid to take them nice and slow. If you're still learning how to put all the pieces together, so kicking one leg across your body, the standing leg, 90-degree angle, knee pointing up towards the ceiling, my standing arm, shoulder over wrist, then come into the center, switch feet, switch arms, and to the other side. So we're not letting our butt come down towards the floor, and we're also not letting the knee on the standing leg cave in like this, okay? Because both of those, then when you go to try to switch sides, put a really nasty pressure on your knee, okay? So focus on form before you try to add speed in. And last but not least, see, this is the place in the warm-up where I would usually begin getting frustrated that the puzzle pieces were pulling apart from one another. And that is not happening, which is so cool. Yes. So let's just finish out wave push-up, not a plank. All right? We jump into a plank position, and then we do a wave push-up. And then that nice, big victory clap at the top. And remember, when the timer goes off, we will stand immediately and start doing cross jacks. So cross jacks are active rest, and how they go: jump your feet out and in, one foot crossed in front of the other, and out and in, switching which foot's in front. Same thing with the arms, just out and in. You can also modify if you need to. I've had people just kick the feet forward and do the arms. I've had people just go side to side. All of that's fine. Just make sure to keep moving the whole time. Woo! All right. Yeah. Oh man. Hi everybody. I'm so excited. So make sure you're still cross-jacking. I will stop because I have to be able to talk to you at the same time, and that's a lot of lung capacity. I'm still building it up. All right. So do not stop if you see me stop, because I'm the teacher, I get to. All right, we are going to do a class that builds in a lot of one of my favorite exercises, toe squats. Huzzah, huzzah. So we are going to start with a 5-minute timer of toe squats. So yeah, it's going to be intense. Usually when I give you toe squats, I give you the opportunity to take rests. Not today. So feet hip width apart. We're keeping our backs as straight up and down as we can, and slowly squatting down, letting our heels come off the floor when we can't go any farther without doing that. All the way down to here and back up and down and up and down and up. Okay? So we're just going to do 5 minutes. If you do need to take a break, you can stop and do the active rest exercise, but you cannot stop and just stand around. All right? So keep that in mind. Breaks are possible, but they have to be active breaks. All right, so everybody on your mats, and where's that timer? There it is. So cross-jacking away, and as soon as you hear the timer, you will begin your toe squats. So when we talk about starting on time, for this class, it's a little weird because this is a perpetual motion class. So we don't have the opportunity to stop moving and go, okay, well, I know what the next exercise is, so I'm gonna get myself prepped in the starting position or very nearly there and just go as soon as the timer starts. Because for everything, we are moving right up until the timer starts. And then when the timer goes off, we don't stop moving, we just immediately go into the exercise. So one of the big skills that I need you to learn for this class is minimizing your transition time between one exercise and the next. So you will always be starting from cross jacks and then going into something. So as I tell you what the next exercise is, you will have to pay attention to, all right, how do I best transition from cross jacks to whatever that next exercise is, okay? So it's important to always be thinking from that perspective. And then remembering too, that every time you get to the end of the timer, you will then have to get back into your cross jacks. So you will have to then reverse the process and be like, all right, whatever that last exercise is, how do I most quickly get from there, wherever I am, into cross jacks? And it's going to be different for every exercise, and it will be easier or harder depending on how much of a transition between planes and between positions you're making. Hey, you're halfway through. Yeah. I just realized that there's actually a wall here. So when we do calf stretches, I can show you using a wall. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so for example, with toe squats, this is a pretty big range of motion, you know. I'm going all the way from a standing position to almost all the way to the floor. I'm balanced on the balls of my feet and my legs are completely folded. So I have to figure out how to get back into cross jacks from an exercise where when that ending horn goes, I could be here, in which case it's easy, or I could be here, in which case it's hard, or I could be mid-motion, all right? So that's the other thing to consider, is that depending on the exercise that you are currently in and the exercise that you are going to, you may have an easier or a harder time transitioning from one to the other. So just make sure that you are absolutely paying attention to those transitions, checking in with yourself and going, okay, what do I need to pay attention to as I switch from one exercise to the other, okay? Oh, all right. Well, good news is you've got 35 seconds left of this particular 5-minute timer. Will there be more of them later in the class? Who knows? No one could possibly know except maybe me, because I'm the teacher. And I do know. But you're just gonna have to keep taking class to find out. I have many staircases in this house, so I feel like toe squats are gonna get even easier for me. All right, and now immediately back into cross jacks. Good job, everyone. Yeah. All right, so we may or may not be doing more toe squats today, so keep that in mind. Make sure you're saving some energy for a nice intensive leg day. Just like Captain America, we are not skipping leg day, all righty? Okay, so our next set is gonna be a perpetual motion set, obvi. 45-second work interval. So not our longest, not our shortest. And we're gonna have 3 exercises, go through them 3 times each. So the standard drill. And our 3 exercises, the first one is going to be pike extensions. So this is a nice core exercise. It's sort of an evolution of the TikTok. So we're gonna start balanced on our tailbone in this pike position. Arms on either side of your knees extended. And we're gonna extend our arms, our chests, our legs out. So we're in a nice long line, engaging that core to keep everything off the floor. And then back up to that balance. And down and up and down and up. All right? Then the second and third exercises are the same exercise, just side 1 and side 2. So it's going to be penchés, which is a dance term that I brought into class because, hey, that's where most of my training is. So balancing on one foot, and we are going to take a tabletop position. So I basically created a T from my leg up through the crown of my head. And then you can do one of 2 things. You can either get into this position and try and hold the balance, or up and down and up and down. And then the third exercise will just be doing that on the other side. All right? So pike extensions, and then penchés, side 1 and side 2. So everybody getting ready and cross-checking on your mats. And so this is one of those big transitions all the way down to the floor and off and away. So this exercise is a nice intense core exercise, and I do want you to check in and make sure that your core is actually engaged and working. We talk a lot about how easy it can be to try and compensate on ab exercises with other muscle groups, which doesn't help because then we're not actually strengthening the muscle group that we're trying to work. So I want you to really, whenever we are doing core exercises, I want you to really pay attention to whether you are actively using your core. Because let me tell you, even if I'm not doing a core exercise, you're probably still gonna need your core. Like right now, this is not technically a core exercise, but I need to have my abdominals engaged to make sure that my torso isn't gonna try and move around somewhere that I don't expect it to, which will impact my ability to maintain this balance. So for all of these balance positions, you want to focus any micro adjustments that you need to make to hold the balance. You want to make them only with the foot or the ankle. And if your torso is not controlled through tightening your abdominals, engaging them, managing that weight, then your torso is going to try and fall every which way, and you're not going to know where it's going to go. Your foot and ankle aren't going to be able to compensate, and you're going to fall over, all right? So even when we're not doing a core exercise, we still need our cores. So when we are doing core exercises, I really want you to check in and make sure that that's a muscle group you're actually using. Because let me tell you, I went through too long thinking, oh, well, the reason I never feel my abdominals when we do these exercises is because I just already have a super strong core. And I had a pretty good core, you know, stronger than the average bear. But in last year was really when I started paying better attention to what I was actually engaging for those exercises. And let me tell you, I very quickly discovered that I had not, in fact, been engaging my abdominal muscles. And that as soon as I actually started putting active effort into that, I was constantly feeling that engagement. There was none of this, oh, my core's already strong enough that I'm just not going to feel, that I'm not going to feel any work. No, because let me tell you, I've been saying that a lot, I don't know why. Weird verbal tics. My core is super strong now, and I still feel it when I do these exercises. And so it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for ages, you should still feel that work, that effort, that fatigue when you're doing abdominal exercises. And if you don't, then it is very likely that you are not actually using the right muscle group. So always pay attention to that. Particularly now, as we go back into our last run through of these. Oh my goodness, there's so much space. I'm not worrying about running my hands into the board game bookcase or my feet into that giant armchair. I can really just stretch all the way out. It is so very nice to be able to do that. Oh boy. Don't forget to exhale on the effort. Always helpful. All right. Yeah. And when we're doing a held position like this, don't forget to breathe, okay? We do not want to end up in a situation where we are holding our breath as part of trying to hold the position, because our muscles are still working and they still need that oxygen in order to maintain this hold, to maintain this balance. Those core muscles that I was just talking about need that oxygen to maintain their control over the weight of the torso, okay? So you want to be taking nice, steady breaths while you're in this position. We're not going for holding our breath. That is not going to go the way you think. So make sure that you are continuing to breathe as you hold the position or as you come in and out of it, whichever one you've chosen for today. And now back to cross checks. Yeah, or one of the modifications. So do those or those if you want to, either way. Woo. All right. Yeah. How are those legs feeling, my friends? We're definitely giving them a run for their money today. And make sure you're still drinking water. I know you're bouncing around. I know that it's much harder to drink water when you're out of breath and still moving. So just think of it like you're doing a road race and think of the techniques that you've built up to be able to drink water while you're running. Same principle here, okay? So now we're going to do another 5 minutes of toe squats. Look, like I said, you did not skip leg day this week. All right, so all the same things apply, all the same form notes, the same timer structure. You've got this, all right? And because this is your second time through, you can really start to focus in more deliberately on form, all right? And on your personal speed and rhythm, cadence. So just start to think about all those things. All righty, so we're getting back on our mats. We're cross-jacking until we hear that horn, and then we go. So speaking of our cores, our cores are critical for toe squats, and we want them engaged before we go anywhere. And it's for the same reason that I talked about in the penchés, because we're going down, all the way down into this balance position. And if my core is not engaged, then my torso is sort of free to go wherever it wants to. And then I go, best case scenario, I fall out of the position, have to reset. Worst case scenario, I fall over and injure myself somehow. So before we go anywhere, I want that core engaged so that it's basically making everything from the hips up one solid sheet, not a bunch of disparate limbs, one solid sheet. And so by the time we get down here, there's nowhere for it to go. There's nowhere for my shoulders, my arms, my head to go, because my core is keeping everything in place, okay? Another thing to think about is making sure that gravity does not get to play a part in this exercise. Gravity wants to participate. It's dying to. It's like, well, you're trying to get to the ground anyway. Why don't I give you a hand? And the reason why we don't want gravity to give us a hand is because we come down here too fast, we sort of let go of our weight, we bounce around, we sort of slam down on our knees, and again, it puts really nasty pressures on our knees that our knees do not like. And considering how important our knees are to our mobility, we want to take care of them better than that. So even if I am going for speed in my reps, you can see that I am still in control the whole time. I can go at a really nice pace, but I am still in control. There's no bouncing at the bottom. I am managing every part of the movement, and that's super important. So here, as we head into the second half of the timer, I want you to really think about that. Pay attention as you come down. Where are the little places where you're almost losing your balance? And where does it feel like the muscle group lost control? Because there are a lot of different places, you know? Starting with our core, but as I'm coming down and my heels raise, my quads really have to engage to help take over managing the leg positioning. And if I wait on that, then that gives gravity another opportunity to try slamming down. So making sure that as you transition from feet flat on the ground to heels coming off the ground, that your quads also kick it into high gear so that they are taking over management of that movement process and making sure that you're not going anywhere unexpectedly. All right? So more things to think about, and don't worry, we have plenty of opportunities to test this out, and that is wonderful, I'd say. So we're in our final minute. Remember, if you are taking rests, they have to be active rests. So moving back and forth, cross-checking if you want to, but making sure that you're not just standing around, all right? So you've got 25 seconds left, so just really try to hone in, keep yourself moving for the rest of the timer, and make sure that you're still paying attention to all of those stabilizing muscle groups, all right, so that we don't lose any of that support. And now back to cross checks. Come on, there we go. Alrighty, woo. There are definitely more shadows in this room than there were previously, and that is probably just a function of needing to better figure out my lighting setup for the new room, but it's close enough for government work, so I'm not gonna worry about it today. Ha! Yeah! All right. Okay. So, we're gonna do another perpetual motion set. Same as before, 45-second work intervals. 3 exercises, 3 times through. Alrighty? Our 3 exercises this time. We are going to start with a held bridge. And I'm going to give you 2 possible versions of this. Alright? You can start from just this position. You've got your feet flat on the floor, your heels coming back towards your butt. They don't have to be all the way at your butt. You want your shins parallel to the wall, perpendicular to the floor. And then we just bridge our hips up as high as they can go and hold that position. So you can do that, or if you're feeling really feisty today, you can, from the same position, bring your hands flat on the ground. Your fingertips are pointing down towards your shoulders, okay? And then push into this bridge position and hold this, okay? That is something that we all used to do as kids, but you also need a greater degree of back flexibility for it. So be cautious, start easy before testing that, all right? Second exercise is gonna be front plank from the elbows. So we have our Shoulders directly over elbows, so nice perpendicular line between the upper arm and the floor. And then just this nice long plank position. Core obviously doing lots of work here. And we just hold it. And then our third exercise is going to be ankle reaches. So flat on the floor, legs extended up towards the ceiling. I will contract my abdominals, and that lifts my chest and head off the ground. Reach one hand to the outside of the opposite ankle, and then back slightly but not all the way, and reach to the other side. And we're just going back and forth like that. So, held bridge, front plank, ankle reaches. Those are our exercises. So everybody is still cross-tracking, hopefully got some water. And as soon as you hear that timer, we're gonna have to go all the way down to the floor as quick as you can and into whichever version you're doing. Just keeping in mind that the other version involves the arms really intensely as well, and we are going into front planks after this. So if your arms are already feeling a little overloaded, then you may want to just stick with this version. This version is more intense on your quads, which, you know, may have an impact if we do more toe squats, but that's just a choice you're gonna have to live with, my friends. All right, and now those nice front planks. So here's another opportunity for us to practice breathing in a held position. All right, it is gonna do no one any good to hold your breath while you're here in this plank. So please make sure that you are taking nice, calm breaths. All right, big ones if you can. We're not doing anything cardio intensive right now, so you should be able to take greater breaths. And now into our ankle reaches. So these are a lot of, we're not changing planes, but we're sort of flipping our orientation a lot. So that's one of the big things to pay attention to as you're considering how to transition from one exercise to the next. All right, so lots of fun. Lots of fun here, but remember for the ankle reaches, I do want you to try to keep your legs straight, but, and I'll talk about it a little more when we go back to it, but if you don't have that hamstring flexibility, and not everybody does, you can add a bit of a bend in. I'll show you that when we get back around to it. You just need to make sure that you're not moving your feet too far away from you, because you want to still be able to reach directly up towards the feet, okay? So that's just the main thing to pay attention to. But I would love to get everybody to a place where they can have their legs straight while they're doing their ankle reaches, but that's not where everybody is. And it is very important that you know where your body is, what it can do, what it can't currently do, and that you know what the healthy modifications are for anything that you're trying to do, okay? So these are just really important pieces of information for you to learn about yourself, because the fact of the matter is, you are the one living in your body, first of all, and that's always true. Second of all, because this is a remote class, I'm not in the room with you. I'm not able to really pay attention to your form and help you figure it out. So you really do need to learn these things about yourself and to learn how your body performs, where its stronger and weaker sides are, where its more and less flexible sides are, and what modifications you may need to make to exercises that you can't fully do yet, okay? There's no shame in that. There's no blame in that. I want you to be safe, okay? You know, if you've been taking class with me for any amount of time, you know that your safety is always the thing that should be our #1 focus, okay? I'm not here to tell you no pain, no gain, and I'm not here to tell you to ignore signs of injury and just keep pushing on, all right? I want you to be able to be as active and mobile as you can possibly be for as long as possible. And that's a totally achievable goal. But the way that we achieve that goal is by focusing on form and by making sure that we know how to read the signals that our body sends us, and we know how to go, okay, my body is really struggling with this thing. I need to figure out a way to modify, or I need to find a different exercise that works the same muscle groups, or I just need to sit down for a little bit because I'm feeling a bit physically overwhelmed, all right? It is so important that you listen to those signals and that you honor them, okay? That you don't go, oh, you know, you're just being a wuss. Like, that pain's not so bad. I can push through it, okay? Learn to pay attention to what your body's telling you. Learn to differentiate between your brain going, are you sure you want to do that? Because I have a memory of us not being good at it. And sometimes our brain does that. Sometimes our brain does try to get us to slow down or take it easier than we need to because it's trying to protect us. And that's fine. But you need to learn how to differentiate between that, which is something where you can go, all right, well, you know, brain, I understand what you're trying to do, but I also believe that we can do more than you think we can. And pain signals that are desperately trying to tell you that something is wrong, okay? And you can differentiate between them. We're trained out of it a lot in sports teams, in health, in physical education, in school. We're trained out of listening to our bodies. Some of that is just really shitty teaching methods. Some of that is this propensity to not believe kids when they describe their lived experience, which then teaches them to not trust or pay attention to their lived experience. And, you know, it sets us up for such bad habits going forward. So, yeah, really take all the time you need to learn how to communicate with your brain and with your body about fitness, and to not try and shame your body when it's going, ow, but to go, okay, I hear you. Is this something where I need to use a smaller weight or do a different exercise? Or do I actually need to stop moving for a little bit and let you rest and recuperate, okay? You can figure that stuff out. You absolutely can. But you need to be able to build that rapport. And that can be hard. That can be hard if we've been trained our whole lives not to have that rapport. All right, my loves, you know what time it is. It's time to close out with one last run of toe squats. So I've told you everything that I need to tell you, I think. So you're on your mats, you're getting ready, and we're going. Woo! And check in on how different this feels third time through than it did the first time, all right? We have had a leg intensive class. So you may be like, I can't do the same degree of speed that I was able to do earlier because, you know, since then, I've done another round of toe squats and a couple of really leg heavy perpetual motion sets. So again, learning to read our bodies and starting from a foundation of form. So I always want you to focus on doing things correctly rather than focusing on getting to a certain number or even continuing to move the whole time, all right? This is a perpetual motion class. That's our goal. In the same way that if I'm running a half marathon, my goal is to run the whole time. But I don't start there, okay? I didn't start there for running training. I certainly didn't start there for this class. So if you're new to class and you are just like, I do not feel like I have the stamina for this yet, again, you live in your body. Pay attention to the signals it's sending you. I would rather that you do 2 form perfect reps and then stand around for the rest of these 5 minutes than push through to do like 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 and do them incorrectly. And then train your body in the incorrect movement patterns. And then set yourself up for injury down the line. Okay? So I am always going to give you encouragement and, you know, gentle chivying because that's really useful. That's one of the reasons that we take class. That's one of the reasons we have personal trainers, is to have that external voice to push us a little bit, to remind our brains that we can do this. But I want to be 100% clear all the time that if you are there and you're like, I need to stop, I feel dizzy, or I feel pain, or I feel like I'm going to throw up, stop. Nausea in particular is an automatic stop moving, okay? If you start to feel nauseated, you stop moving, you figure out if it's something that's going to pass quickly, maybe try a sip of water, see if it is tied into not drinking enough water, and if it continues, you're done for the day, all right? Because, again, learning the signals, listening, responding, training our body and our brain that we will take them seriously when they try to give us information. A crazy thought, all right? But it's one that I like to hammer home over and over again because, quite frankly, too many of us were trained completely opposite. We were trained to distrust these signals. We were trained to not honor them, to think that we were being melodramatic or just giving up too quickly. And let me tell you, you can absolutely tell the difference between, okay, brain, you're really being a little overly cautious right now, and, oh, brain, you're right. If I keep doing this thing, I'm going to hurt myself. We can tell the difference, and we should allow ourselves to honor those signals. My friends, we have 20 seconds left. So with your remaining energy, we're going to do toe squats all the way to the end of this timer. You have done an amazing job today. Our first class of February, our first class in the new space. You didn't skip leg day, and your reward is getting to stop now. Good job, everybody. Good, good job. Let's do some stretching. I'm going to keep us standing. I'm going to have us do our standing quad stretch. So I'm going to put a hand on a wall or a counter for balance. I'm going to stand on one foot, bring the other heel up into my hand, pull it into my butt as close as I can, and really just try and intensify that quad stretch. You don't have to have a hand on a surface, but I recommend it, even if you have the balance, because as soon as you take the hand away, now my focus is split between trying to intensify the stretch, but also trying to maintain this balance. And it just means that you're not getting as good of a stretch. So even if you have that balance, I say keep a hand on the wall. Nothing terrible will come out of that. And you'll be able to stretch more effectively. All right, other side. I'm sort of awkwardly reaching across myself right now. Woo! But I am feeling that stretch on my left leg. Dang. Yeah. And that's another thing that you'll start to learn. You will start to learn that we're not symmetrical creatures. And so when we're doing our stretches at the end of class, some stretches you'll feel more intensely, and some of them you may not feel as much. And that's totally natural. All right, let's do those calf stretches. Speaking of, now that I have an actual wall to demonstrate what I've been awkwardly talking about. So standing relatively close to the wall, and I'm going to take one leg back. My goal is to keep that leg straight and to get my heel all the way down to the ground to intensify that calf stretch. So I can shift around a little bit and test, and I may hit a point where I can get my heel almost to the ground, but not quite, and that's where I apply some pressure against the wall, and I can intensify that stretch. Go slowly, always, into these stretch positions. We want to make sure that we are not accidentally telling our brain, oh, you got to send a signal down there, that muscle's supposed to be doing something, and the brain goes, cool, I'll tell it to contract. That's not what we're trying to do. We want it to extend. All right, and then bring that foot back to standing, and other side. And again, you may not have to go back as far to get the same degree of stretch. You may be able to go back farther, okay? It's just going to depend on you. And these are, again, such important things to learn about yourself, okay? So always, always try to pay attention to those things, especially when we're stretching. We've got more brain space to really think in on it. All right, let's roll over the top of our toes and just get a nice stretch going up the top of the foot, up into the shin. It's a nice way to reverse the impact of toe squats, which we did a lot of. So we had a lot of going up under the ball like this. So now we're just reversing that toe position and sort of reversing the stretch. So just go back and forth at your leisure. We're not putting like standing pressure on it. All my weight is here. So I can just press down a little bit on the toes to intensify the stretch as feels good to me, okay? I'm just feeling the desire to do this, and now I have this beautiful wall. So I want to do a quick sort of shoulder pec stretch for you. So you come up to the wall, and you want to put your arm up, your forearm up against it, and we want to stretch, hang on, yeah. We want to stretch away from the wall, so sort of push away from the wall and feel that stretch in the shoulder, okay? And then other way, I guess I have to come over here, which is awkward, but I want to even myself out. Important for me to even myself out too. All right. Friends, oh my goodness. What a good first class in the new space. Yes, I'm going to be doing that a lot. It's your fault. Oh my gosh. All right, get those water bottles. Make sure you are hydrating. What a pleasure. What a fun first class. What a great start to February. I'm so excited, my friends. I'm just looking forward to setting up the space, to figuring out how to frame the stream appropriately. I'll probably make some lighting tweaks in terms of positioning of these big behemoths. Hopefully some new camera work coming down the pipeline in a couple of weeks. But this is our space, and I'm really, really looking forward to getting to teach you here and getting to keep building out the channel this year. Wow. It's in some ways hard to believe that we're already in the second month of 2021, but time has no meaning. So like, I think that's more of an intellectual, whoa, I can't believe it, than an actual thing that I'm feeling, if that makes sense. It's like, I feel like I should be amazed, but yeah, time has no meaning. So of course we're here. Where else would we be? But I do know that I am so excited to keep working with y'all and keep growing with y'all and keep getting fit with y'all. So yeah. I hope you like the new studio, the new space. And you know, it'll continue to update slowly and surely, but as with everything, we don't have to rush. And we have 3 more classes this week, so if you haven't gotten enough, you can come back tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time. We have Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. Then Friday at 6 p.m. is Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training with objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused body weight class. So definitely join for any or all of those classes. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles will be in my end cards, but they're all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all of the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness. Your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you, like me, are excited for what the new year has to offer, then please do follow this channel. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for a good class stream. I stream 4 days a week. We'd love to have you in chat. Even if you're not working out, just come and hang out. We've got a great community, and we are so close to Twitch affiliate. It's remarkable. And I'm so excited to see where we can go this year. So yeah, come with me on this journey. Woo! All right, my friends, I'd say it's time to drink some water, to have some dinner, to have a nice post-workout shower, and I will see you all back here tomorrow. Mwah! Have a great night.